Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I want to talk to you all about the Coke bottle effect and how, particularly as kids are going back to school, it might help you understand some of the difficulties you might be experiencing with their behaviour. So if we think about a child's school day and let's make them a Coke bottle. So if you think about a bottle of Coke, as you shake it, the pressure builds up in the bottle, and if you keep shaking the bottle and shaking the bottle and shaking the bottle, eventually when you take the lid off, it explodes and you end up with Coke going everywhere. And it might sound a little bit odd, but that's kind of like what's happening with some of your children or our children at the end of the school day. They are getting up in the morning. We are getting them out of bed, we're getting them dressed, maybe they struggle with the feel of their clothes. We're kind of nudging them, persuading them to get up, get showered, get the breakfast eaten, get out the door, all the stresses that brings. They're then at school for the whole day and they are doing everything they can to behave in the way they should do, to meet the requirements, to look like their peers, to behave like their peers, to get their head around the subjects that they're learning during the day. They're also dealing with the break time struggles and the lack of structure at break time, which for lots of children is really, really overwhelming. And as you go through all of this, they're holding it together and they're holding it together and they're holding it together and they're holding it together. And then you get to lunchtime and they have all the different smells in the canteen and all of that stuff, and they're holding it together and they're holding it together. And maybe they're not really allowed to release it during the day because they're worried or they don't have those opportunities to, and they keep holding it together in the afternoon, and they're trying so hard to behave and do everything they can and do everything in the right way and look the right way, and they keep going till the end of the school day and they're holding it in and they're holding it in and they're holding it in, and then they see you and bang! All of that energy that they've been keeping inside them, the frustration, the worry, the anxiety, the fear, the hard work, and the absolute exhaustion that creates for so many of our children comes out in a big kind of volcanic eruption all in one go. And sometimes that can be literally the minute they see you in the playground. Other times you've got into the car maybe, or you've got home before it happens. And that's really hard because it's not easy for your child. They've got all these big emotions that they've been holding on to and they've been managing to get them out, and they're just like, poof, they've seen you, they feel safe, they can get it out. But also for you as the parent, you've got that kind of, oh, what's that child doing? And all the other parents looking on. Maybe the teachers and the school staff are saying, well, he's very well behaved in school. Doesn't do that with us. It must be you, must be your parenting. And so we're living with all of that as parents and carers, and just, worried about our child, wanting the best for our child. So that is the Coke bottle effect. And if you're thinking, oh, yeah, that does sound a little bit like my child, actually. They do that. I get it. So many do, and it's okay. There's lots of things that we can do to help and support. The first thing is things that you can do. So when you meet them at the school gate or wherever you meet them in the playground, one trick that is a trick really, something you can do that helps them release some of that pressure in a more calm and more regulated way is to give them a snack that is chewy or crunchy. Really simple. So literally as soon as you see them, snack straight into their hand, drink maybe in the other hand, particularly if it's in a bottle where they can suck, because that sucking action or that chewing action, crunching action is really regulating, and it will help them to release some of the stress and pressure that's built up in their bodies throughout the day. Think about how you feel when you're stressed. Lots of us go for food because that regulating the eating action really calms us down. So that's one thing that you can do straight away. The second is talk to the school, because they may not realise how much your child is holding it together during the day. They may not see that because they're well behaved. They may not realise that actually your child's really struggling to manage that during the day or is masking during the day. Talk to them about whether they can put sensory breaks in throughout the day that just help release the pressure. So if you think of a bottle of Coke, when the pressure's been built up, when it's been shaken, if you release the lid a little bit at a time, it releases the pressure a bit at a time. So it never builds up in the same way, and you don't get that huge volcanic eruption when you take the lid off in one go. So if the school can build in sensory breaks or have sensory toys, things like that, that your child can be playing with throughout the day, that will help to release the pressure. They might also like to think about breaks, lunch times, how they can help your child cope in those environments, but also movement breaks. So your child's got the opportunity to get up, move around, release some of the pressure. And these things will benefit the whole class. So it doesn't need to be just your child that does them. The whole class can do them, and the whole class can release that kind of the stress and pressure that does build up in a classroom environment for all of our children, particularly when they're young and they don't want to be sitting still all day. So we can do those things to really help. And you can carry on doing those things in the evening as well. You can do them at the weekends so that they're as regulated as they can be when they're in school. So if you are experiencing this, you're not the only one. It's called the Coke bottle effect, or it's also poshly called post-school restraint collapse, which is pretty much the same thing. But if you're experiencing, you get it. So if you're getting that, if you're having a child who's having big meltdowns as they come out of school, yes, they might just be absolutely exhausted from the school day and how busy it is, but sensory regulation, helping them to regulate calmly, or not regulate calmly, but to regulate through calming things will make a huge, huge difference. So that is it for today's video to help you along. I hope it's useful. As always, any comments, pop them in the box below. If you want to come and join us in the Facebook group to get ideas and tips and to get further information, do. And if you like this video, why not share? Subscribe, come and catch more of them, and we will help you sharing tips and ideas to help you on your parenting journey. Bye for now.